Club Social y Deportivo Colo-Colo is a Chilean football club based in Macul, Santiago. Founded in 1925, they play in the Primera División, from which they have never been relegated. The team plays its home games at the 47,000-seat Estadio Monumental since 1989. Colo-Colo is regarded as the most successful club of Chilean football. Colo-Colo have won the most league titles of any Chilean club and a record 10 Copa Chile. Internationally was the first Chilean team in obtain a continental tournament, reaching the 1991 Copa Libertadores after beat Olimpia 3-0 on June 5 with Mirko Jozić as manager, whom led the club to win other two international titles the following season relative to that achievement that were Recopa Sudamericana and Copa Interamericana in 1992 and made the club completed 3 international honors. The club's most winning player is Lizardo Garrido with 15 titles, the highest historic top scorer is Francisco Valdecopirites with 215 goals, and the player with most appearances is the former goalkeeper Michel Escuti with 417 games. Colo-Colo is the team with the most supporters in Chile, and holds a longer Euro-standing rivalry with Universidad de Chile. The club also holds a traditional rivalry in matches against Cobreloa and Universidad Católica. Between other dates, the IFFHS placed the team into the Topa Euro 30 ranking of club in 2007, and years later, in 2009, the same institution named the team as the 20th century's top club of its country, and then into South America's top 20 ranking. History. The team was founded early in 1925 by Magallanes footballer David Arellano, who led a group of youngest players with the objective of leaving his former club after serious institutional problems. Finally, on April 19, Arellano officially established the club after meetings and negotiations, where the player Luis Contreras chose the name of a Colo-Coloa for the new club, that represents a Mapuche. The team began to play friendly games, but in 1926, Colo-Colo contested the Metropolitan League of Honor, were proclaimed champions and earned the nickname of Invincibilia. The following year, Colo-Colo became the first Chilean football team to participate in a tour across Europe. However, on May 2, during an exhibition match against Real Unión Deportiva at Valladolid, the team founder and captain David Arellano was critically injured after suffering a collision with an opposing player that caused him peritonitis. The inflammation would lead to his death the next day. Despite the great impact caused by death of Arellano, the club won the tournament of the Central League of Football a Euro, then renamed Asociación de Fútbol de Santiago a Euro, in the 1928, 1929 and 1930 seasons. In the 1931 a Euro 32 season, Colo-Colo suffered their first institutional crisis, principally occurring because of financial problems, that led to a serious salary reduction of first-team footballers, with their consequent resistance and also of board members. However, in sporting terms, the team played another tournament final, that season against Audax Italiano. But due to a collapse of a platform of the Estadio Italiano and subsequent roughhousing by fans, the game was suspended when the Albacete was winning 2-1, the match was cancelled and the champion position for that year remained vacant. That day's tragedy resulted in 130 injuries and 3 deaths. Other authors however declared that Audax Italiano was advantageous over Colo-Colo. 1 year later, 6 Santiago-based clubs along with Colo-Colo decided to create the first professional league within the country, which was established during 1933. On July 23, the team won the Campeonato de Apertura, after defeating Unión Deportiva plus or minus Ola 2-1. However, in the first Primera División official tournament, Colo-Colo finished in the first position of the table alongside Magallanes, who forced the Icquahuique to play a tie-breaker match that Colo-Colo lost 2-1. In 1937, the team was in unbeaten form, obtained their first league title, and 2 seasons later, in 1939, won the league title for the second time under the guidance of the Hungarian coach Francisco Platko, with the highest scorer being Alfonso Dormenwas, who scored 20 goals in 24 matches. After another title in 1941 with Platko as coach, 7 years later organized the South American Club Championship, a Euro precursor of the Copa Libertadores, a Euro in Santiago, having as basis the title obtained the last season. However, the season 1945, the club made their worst campaign in its history, finishing penultimate in the 11th place over the weak Badminton. In the early 1950s, club's president Antonio Larbain hired Newcastle United striker George Robledo for £25, who with his goals led the team to the tournaments of 1953 and 1956. During that decade also, the club acquired a terrain at Macul, where was started the construction of the Estadio Monumental. Despite that acquisition, the directive invested in a headquarters located at Santiago Centro, a Euro address Senfigos 41, a Euro in 1953. The 1960s decade started with the 1960 and 1963 honors, where in the last of these, were broken 2 records. The first of those, had to do with Luis Herner Nalvarez, who scored 37 goals in a single season, being the highest number of goals scored by a footballer of Colo-Colo during a single season, while the second was the highest number of goals scored by a club, a Euro, with 130 scores, a Euro, also during a football season. Until the late 1960s, the club made regular campaigns, where their rivals Universidad Católica and Universidad de Chile dominated those seasons. However, the team won its 10th honor in 1970. In 1972, under the orders of the coach Luis Alamos, and with shapes like Carlos Caselli and Francisco Valde, won another championship, and also obtained the country's attendance record of 45.929 people assistance per match. That team was the basis of the called Colo-Colo 73, that had the speciality of being the first Chilean team to reach a Copa Libertadores final, which lost against Independiente of Argentina. After of Colo-Colo's brilliant campaign, the club entered into a strong crisis of playing an institutional character, at least on the field, not getting the league title again until 1979, where highlighted and other players, like the talented Brazilian midfielder Severino Vasconcelos. In the 1980s, the club obtained the league titles of 1983 with the coach Pedro Garca, and the 1986 and 1989 honors under Arturo Sela. The 1987 Alianza Lima air disaster claimed the lives of 16 players, where Colo-Colo ceded footballers to the Peruvian team. Despite 4 Copa Chile titles in that decade. However, the great deception in that period were the continental tournaments, where the team only exceeded the first stage of the 1988 Copa Libertadores. On September 30, 1989, the Estadio Monumental played an opening match against P plus or minus a role, that Colo-Colo won 2-1, with goals of Marcelo Bartolomeu and the striker Hugo Rubio for the ๊kolo. The 1990s decade was the most successful in the club's history, for the national and international honors achieved. In mid-1990, arrived the Croatian Mirko Jozić as coach, with whom the team won its first bicampeonato, after won the title of that year. On June 5 of that year, after beat 3-0 to Olimpia at Monumental, with a twice of Luis Pá copyright res and a goal of Lenel Herrera, Colo-Colo began the first Chilean team and won a Copa Libertadores. The same season, the Albiceleste lost the Intercontinental Cup final against Yugoslavian club Red Star Belgrade, after being defeated 3-0 at Tokyo. While in the national plane, the club won its third Euro consecutive title, achieving its first tricampeonato, winning the league title of 1991. The following season, the club won the Recopa Sudamericana, after beating the penalties to Brazil's Cruzeiro, and also obtained the Copa Interamericana, after won 3-1 to Puebla in Mexico. The last title obtained by Jozić and Colo-Colo was the 1993 league title, thus closing a successful spell in South America. After Jozić's departure of the club, in 1994, the club had 3 coaches in the season, Vicente Cantador, Edwin Nostroza and André Copyrightes Prieto, finishing 4th in the league, where lost 4-0 via Superclásico against Universidad de Chile. Despite of the regular season in the national plane, the team was champion of the Copa Chile and achieved the Copa Libertadores quarter-finals. However, the following season, arrived the Paraguayan Gustavo Benitez as coach, who obtained the 1996, 1997 Euro C and 1998 honours, achieving also the semi-finals of the Supercopa Libertadores in 1996, and of the Copa Libertadores in 1997, where was eliminated both times by Cruzeiro. In 1999, Colo-Colo lived a similar situation to 1994, finishing fourth, and also had three coaches in a single season, that were the Brazilian Nilcino Baptista, the caretaker manager Carlos Durain and then Fernando Marino of Uruguay, who remained until 2001. In 1999, after Benitez's departure, the club entered in a serious financial crisis after years of economic mismanagements under the leader Peter Dragicevic as president. It bottomed on January 23, 2002, when the justice declared Colo-Colo in bankruptcy, letting Juan Carlos Safi as responsible for the institution doesn't lose its legal status. Despite of the bankruptcy, under Jaime Pizarro as coach, a key player in the obtaining of the 1991 Copa Libertadores, Los Albacete won the Torneo de Clausura, with an almost completely juvenile squad. 3 years later, in 2005, the joint stock company Blanco y Negro took the administration, concessioning all assets of the club for 30 years, in exchange for paying all debts through an opening process at Santiago Stock Exchange. However, in the first half of 2006, the Judiciary Court sentenced the end of the debt. With the Argentine Claudio Borfai as coach since 2006, and also with players like Marta Fernandez and Humberto Suazu, Colo-Colo obtained a bicampeonato, winning the Apertura and Clausura tournaments, despite of reach another international final, the Copa Sudamericana, where was defeated 2-1 by Mexico's side Pachuca. Also, that season, El Kashiki was recognized by the IFFHS as the World's Club of the Month. The following season, Colo-Colo won 2 consecutive tournaments more, of that form, winning a Tetracampeonato, and being the first Chilean team achieve that. After Borfai's departure, the club obtained its 28th title after defeating Palestino in the 2008 Torneo de Clausura finals under the coaching of Marcelo Bartocchiotto, and with Lucas Barrios as principal scorer, who equaled Luis Herner Nalvarez record of highest number of goals scored by a Colo-Colo footballer during a single season with 37 goals. The following season, the club became the first professional team in play at Easter Island, while after a poor Torneo de Apertura where was eliminated of the playoffs for first time Los Albacete started the Clausura very close of the promotion playoffs place, but however, the team reached the tournament's finals against Universidad Católica, which won 4-2 in Santa Laura, with players like Esteban Pérez, McNally Torres and Ezequiel Miroles in that moment, coached by Hugo Tocali. However, in the Copa Libertadores, the club only surpassed the group stage in the 2007 edition. Badge, colors and kit. The club's badge represents Mapuche chieftain Colo-Colo, who led Arauco War against Spanish Empire during the 1560s. On April 19, 1925, when the club was established, Luis Contreras one of the players that founded the club alongside Arellano defined the team's badge, according Colo-Colo's legend, which says that he was Pala-N champion, sport practiced by the Mapuches on both sides competing for win a thick ball of cloth. However, the existence of the Araucan figure has been questioned, such as said Diego Barros Arana in its monumental text called Historia General de Chile. Not obstant, the Spanish writer Jura Cube Nimo de Vivor in several of its works, confirms their existence. For much of the history of the club its home colors have been all black and white, uniform that was defined by Juan Kia plus or minus ones, according propositions of team's founder David Arellano. In 1927, after the friendly game played with Valladolid-based club Real Unión Deportiva, match where Arellano died, the club's shirt wears a black horizontal band, that means the eternal mourning of the institution, being nicknamed the Mourners during the 1930s. Colo-Colo's alternative kit was green during the 1930s, Red after 1973 Copa Libertadores campaign under orders of manager Luis Alamos, and then was officially black after 1991 Copa Libertadores title under Mirko Jozić as head coach, being that the third kit in the late 1980s. In August 2008, during an exhibition match against rivals Universidad de Chile, the team played with a red shirt in honor to 1973 Copa Libertadores runner-up squad on hands of Avellaneda-based club Independiente. On March 25, 2010, occurred a similar situation, when during a match played at Josa copyright Amalfitani Stadium with VAR copyright Les Sarsfield for Copa Libertadores, the team wore the uniform and Colo-Colo defeated Botafogo at Maracana Pound, again making reference to that mythical squad of players like Carlos Caselli or Adolfo Neff. Stadium. Colo-Colo initially played on fields like Estadio Llano and Campus de Sports de Agua ±0, close to the current Estadio Nacional, where the club played as local between 1939 and late 1980s, because the construction of its home ground. The club's first owned stadium was Estadio de Carabineros, which was acquired by Via Albacete in a 5 million Chilean pesos fee on May 10, 1946. However, Forte en Mapuco, a euro commonly known of that form in the 1940s, a euro was sold to the workers' compensation in $33 million pesos, transaction that partly funded the purchase of terrain, where was later built Estadio Monumental. In 1956, Antonio Labien, club's president, acquired a 28-ha terrain at Macul, starting of this form the construction of the team's home ground, close to the intersection between Vicua ± Macena and Departamental. Originally, was raised a construction of a stadium of 120,000 spectators. Not obstant, the high cost of the work prevented complete the project without a state subsidy. However, with the resignation of Chile for held the 1962 FIFA World Cup, but the 9.5 magnitude 1960 earthquake, added to a congressional veto provision delivering public money to non-governmental entities that discarded the initiative. Then, with a budget reached between 1972 and 1975, the club achieved the stadium's construction, which was inaugurated during a Campeonato Nacional game against Deportes Aviacia Cubden. Not obstant, the lack of basic services caused the closure of the ground. However, Pedreira's ground was finally opened in 1989. Is believed that the dictator Augusto Pinochet helped end the constructions, but in fact, this had no effect. It was only a broken promise, because in that moment was holding the plebiscite of 1989, which would decide whether the dictator would follow as president. If construction was feasible thanks to the amount of $1 million fee received for the transfer of the striker Hugo Rubio to Serie A club Bologna. The ground was inaugurated in a friendly match with Uruguayan side P+or- a roll, that Colo-Colo won 2-1, where the Argentine Marcelo Bartolomé scored the first goal in the stadium's history. The original capacity was of 62,500 spectators, however several remodelings decreased the capacity to 47,000. According that, the ground has registered high attendances on occasions like 1991 Copa Libertadores final against Olimpia, Superclásico match against Universidad de Chile in 1992, and also into a Euro-0 friendly match victory against Real Madrid during August 1993, that registered a 67,543 attendance. The field's principal name is David Arellano, in honor of the team's founder. Colo-Colo also facilitated its stadium to Chilean national team, which debuted with a 6-0 victory over Venezuela road to 1998 World Cup. However, 11 years passed, and Chile played at the Monumental Stadium again in a qualifying match against La Vinotinto, that finished in a 2-2 draw. One of important matches at Monumental was a 1-0 win over Ecuador, where the already qualified team to 2010 FIFA World Cup sealed its qualification with a goal of Humberto Suazu, that way closing a successful campaign under the coaching of Marcelo Bielsa. Players. Current squad of Colo-Colo as of July 12, 2014. Sources: Team's squad at club's official website. Manager: copyright Tapia, 2014 Winter transfers. In Note Flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Out, note, flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Managers. Current coaching staff, supporters and rivalries. Colo-Colo are the best supported football club in Chile, with over 12 million fans or hinchada, which represent approximately 42% of total Chilean football fans according to a research published in August 2012 by Spanish newspaper agency Marca, which showed a 6% growth in relation to 2006, where Los Albasa according accountancy firm and sports industry consultants Fundesa Cube Den Futuro ranked the club in the first place with the 38% of the preferences, leaving its rival Universidad de Chile in the second place. Since the early 1960s, the club has organized fan groups, which evolved until mid-Euro-80s, when appeared the Agarra, which were often in Colo-Colo's games and generally rioted, especially in derbies, making Estadio Monumental surroundings into battlefields against the military police. However, in 2000, that group was declared as Barra Brava. Honors, domestic, Liga Central de Fútbol / Asociación Cubana de Fútbol de Santiago, 4, 1925, 1928, 1929, 1930. Primera División Cubana, 30, 1937, 1939, 1941, 1944, 1947, 1953, 1956, 1960, 1963, 1970, 1972, 1979, 1981, 1983, 1986, 1989, 1990, 1991, 1993, 1996, 1997 Clausura, 1998, 2002 Clausura, 2006 Apertura, 2006 Clausura, 2007 Apertura, 2007 Clausura, 2008 Clausura, 2009 Clausura, 2014 Clausura. Cups, Copa Chile, 10, 1958, 1974, 1981, 1982, 1985, 1988, 1989, 1990, 1994, 1996. Continental, Copa Libertadores, winners, 1991, runner-up, 1973. Copa Sudamericana, runner-up, 2006. Copa Interamericana, winners, 1991. Recopa Sudamericana, winners, 1992. International, Intercontinental Cup, runner-up, 1991. See also, Colo-Colo B, Colo-Colo, notes, citations. Further reading, Lara N., Fernando. Club Deportivo Magallanes. Memorias Histocubed Ricas. Santiago, Tal de Molina Lackington y Cia, Jaime, Drapkin S. Historia de Colo-Colo Club de Deportes 1925 a Euro 1952. Without editorial indication Jaime, Marién, Edgardo y Salviat, Julio. De David Acamaco Medio Siglo de Goles. Santiago, Editorial Nacional Gabriela Mistral Historia del Fútbol Chileno. Tomo 2. La Nación Cubana. 1985 Salinas, Sebastián N. Porumpuj y Carrege. Los Albos en la Copyright Boca Amateur 1925 a Euro 1933. Santiago, Central de Estadísticas Deportivas. ISBN A956-299-125-3 External links, official website, Colo-Colo and FIFA.com, supporter site.